How's it going, guys? I'm Vivi and I hope you're all having a fantastic day. And yes, we're finally back to some Sly Cooper. So guys, I really wanted to cover this a while ago. How many times have I read this same idea in the comment section? I've lost count. What is this idea I'm talking about? Could Sly Cooper be his own ancestor from ancient Egypt, Slytunkhamen? Yes, I know it sounds very confusing and it sounds crazy, right? Let me start off by saying that no, I don't think that Sly is his own ancestor from ancient Egypt. Because why? Because Sanzaru had originally planned an episode in ancient Egypt. They took it out due to the PS Vita's size limit. And if there was supposed to be an extra episode, I guess we can all assume that yes, Slytunkhamen was originally planned for Sly 4. And think about this, guys. Time travel in Sly Cooper, I don't think that the whole fanbase liked the idea. Why make time travel a lot more confusing by having Sly be his own ancestor? I just don't think that Sanzaru or whoever's gonna work on Sly 5 will dive too deep into this idea of time travel. It's too complex, way too confusing, and it's unnecessary, in my opinion. And in a way, guys, if you take the time to think about this idea, it's very sad for our main protagonist. I will get to this idea very soon. Now, some of you might perhaps think that, hey, Slytunkhamen's canes look very similar to Sly's canes. And why am I saying canes? Well, Sly had the ability to split his cane into two in Sly 2. Bentley modified them, and this was in episode 7 if I remember correctly. Now I'm going to say it again, guys. Slytunkhamen, assuming he met Sly, he got inspired. He saw Sly Cooper's cane. He saw that he was able to split them into two. He found the idea of the cane so interesting. So as a result, he decided to make canes that looked pretty much similar. And who knows, guys, maybe Slytunkhamen's original name wasn't even Slytunkhamen. Perhaps it was Tunkhamen. Since he was so fascinated by Sly and his abilities, he probably added the name Sly to the beginning of his actual name. Here's another one, but Slytunkhamen looks like Sly. To be honest, guys, the designs by Sucker Punch, the ancestors, they look similar, right? So I wouldn't dive too deep into that. So to re-summarize, Slytunkhamen most probably got inspired by Sly's canes. Is there another idea which doesn't sound too far-fetched? I guess Sly perhaps is the one who actually mentioned the Thievius Raccoonus to his ancestor, and that's how the book came into existence. If that's the case, could Sly have taught his own ancestor how to use the invisibility move? So wait, Slytunkhamen I learned how to turn invisible. Sly opened the book, he learned the skill in the future, right? So you're telling me, Sly saw the ability in the book and then taught it to his own ancestor? That's how the ability actually appeared in the book? See, this is what I'm talking about, guys. It sounds confusing, right? But, if such theory of Sly being his own ancestor were true, what would this time travel theory be called? Actually, guys, someone sent me this link to a Doctor Who video a short while ago. It talks about this crazy idea of time travel. Apparently, if this time travel theory were true about Slytunkhamen and Sly Cooper, it would be known as a Bootstrap Paradox. Let's look up the definition, shall we? Prepare to get a brain fart, people. Honestly, guys, it's not that bad. So in short, the Bootstrap Paradox is a theoretical paradox of time travel that occurs when an object or piece of information sent back in time becomes trapped within an infinite cause-effect loop in which the item no longer has discernible point of origin and is said to be uncaused or self-created. What? For those of you who didn't understand the definition, I'll try to reword it for you guys. So this infinite cause and effect loop. Pretty much, Sly is born, grows up, ends up in ancient Egypt, and becomes Slytunkhamen I. By becoming Slytunkhamen I, he starts his ancestry line, and this creates an endless loop. The object in this case would be Sly. He got sent to the past and traps himself in this infinite time loop, with no point of origin. No point of origin? What's meant by that? Yes, these words are pretty straightforward, but here's the thing. Sly is actually born in the future, right? But then becomes his ancestor in the past? I guess that's what I can come up with the terms no point of origin. We don't really know where the character originates from. The past and the future?
Not possible.
Now here's the biggest question, guys. Sly grows up reads the book, learns a bunch of skills. But who is the true Slytunkhamen? If you watch the Doctor Who video, which by the way the link will be in the description, you'll understand what I mean. And like I said before guys, this whole theory about time travel, this whole theory of Sly being his own ancestor, it's just sad to think about. Not only is it too complex, but after everything Sly has been through, to see that end, to have him become his ancestor and say goodbye to the future, it's like saying the series would come to an end, Sly meeting his fate. But who knows, Sly 5 might be the last one. But let's not think about that right now. Now here's another thing which makes this whole theory of Sly being his own ancestor kinda messy. How do we fit in Bob Cooper? We assume he's the very first ancestor who, by the way, came up with the idea of the cane. If Sly would be Slytunkhamen, it's like saying Bob Cooper created his ancestor line and eventually came Slytunkhamen, aka Sly. But Sly's born in the future. You understand what I mean? Yes guys, I understand, Sly's in ancient Egypt. But this whole idea of Slytunkhamen originating from the future, I don't think it's necessary. And this whole plot of time travel, you gotta be careful, right? You can create a lot of paradoxes, give rise to a bunch of unanswered questions. You can sometimes even cause plot holes. And think of this, if Sly were destined to become his own ancestor, if he weren't to fulfill his destined role, he would create a paradox. All of his family line would have gotten erased, including him. And what would happen is the future might perhaps turn into chaos. The Coopers overall, they stole from criminals, not ordinary people. Imagine what would happen to the future if these criminals were roaming the streets day and night. And I just mentioned overall Coopers. Don't all Coopers steal from criminals? That we don't know. And if the team wants to add something new to the story, maybe introduce a Cooper who's a bit different. Someone who perhaps actually stole from ordinary people. Maybe this Cooper was never given the Thievius Raccoonus. And like I've said many times in my previous videos, we don't know if the Coopers actually had more than one kid. This brother or sister could have been jealous. And because of that, they just decided to do what made them happy. Steal from ordinary people perhaps. Then again guys, it's still time travel. If you change that person's personality, it might change the future a bit. So that is why time travel in video games, it can get very messy. Alright, if Sly is not Slytunkhamen, could Sly actually be Slytunkhamen 3? We only have a picture, we don't have much information on that ancestor. All we know is that that's the kid of Slytunkhamen II. Could he be Sly? Maybe, if and only if Slytunkhamen II already had a kid not named after his father. After him, basically. And again, it's messy. Slytunkhamen II's son. Is Sly from the future? Oof, I don't know. No. If the team decides to maybe add a little plot twist, maybe they could have Sly time travel to a later future and take a picture with his Binocucom. And what he did is he impersonated his ancestor, Slytunkhamen II. And the canes do look very similar. Yes, I did say that the designs were very similar, but Slytunkhamen III might be a special case, I guess. Okay, now that I mentioned Sly's Binocucom, could it explain all of the pictures in the Thievius Raccoonus? Honestly, compared to the idea of Sly being his own ancestor, Sly being the one who actually took those pictures, it's less of a brain fart, right? Okay, one would say that, hey, maybe those pictures are paintings. I don't think so. Sure, the portraits, they do look like paintings, but as for the little pictures inside the book, those could have been taken with the Binocucom. What do you guys think of that idea? Anyways, to end this video guys, Sly Cooper 5 I believe should be the end of this whole time travel idea. If anything, maybe the next major villain might escape from the past. But wait, didn't you just say that Sly 6 for example doesn't need time travel? They don't necessarily have to focus on time travel. This mysterious villain could have followed the gang when they were going back home, or something like that. Sure, you have a villain from the past, but the game doesn't really need Sly to go back to the past, contact his ancestors. But won't this cause a paradox? To have someone who wasn't meant to be in the future. Well, I did talk about this possible scenario in my Dark Sly Imagined video. Sure, the video is 20 minutes, but maybe you'd like to check it out. And by the way, I didn't spend 20 minutes talking about this one scenario. I covered a bunch of scenarios, just to make it clear. But anyways guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. So as usual, leave all of your thoughts in the comment section below. I've been VV, and until next time, thanks for watching.